All right. All right. I think we're good, people. I think we are good. What's going on YouTube? What's going on TikTok? We got the gang here. I got the game playing in the background, NBA playoffs going. So we are good to go. I didn't hop on here last week, but I'm back this week. So thanks for hopping on YouTube and TikTok. And you guys know how we do it. Start dropping the questions so I can get to them as soon as possible so I can help you. I'm here for you guys. So once you guys start thinking and gathering yourselves and getting those questions going, feel free to not hesitate to drop them below. If you want to join here on TikTok, YouTube doesn't have this feature yet, but on TikTok, you can join the live stream with me. I think there's a little like red or purple and blue kind of circles together. I think you can ask to join if you're comfortable with it. If you want to ask some questions, hop on here, have a mini little, free coaching session in front of everybody. Feel free to do that too. YouTube, drop your questions as well. I got both of y'all going on. So YouTube, if you didn't know that we have a TikTok, hop on over to TikTok. If you didn't know that we have a YouTube, hop on over to YouTube as well. But here, before some questions start coming in, we got some things coming up. With the swiftness. We have our last masterclass of the year on June 13th. Go to leveluptheprept.com. Leveluptheprept.com. I'm going to put it here on YouTube. Somebody can put it in the comments on TikTok. Leveluptheprept.com. And you can sign up for our last masterclass of the year. We do this 3 times a year, all before the application cycle opens up. And this is our last one of the year because the application cycle opens up on June 15th. So June 13th, Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern time, we're doing our last masterclass of the year. So save your seat, leveluptheprept.com. If you've been there before, save your seat still. If you've not been there before, make sure you are there with the swiftness. So that's the first announcement. Then after that, after June 13th, we're going to have our essay workshop, our PTCast pre-PT essay workshop. We're going to get your essay pretty much almost done, as you can get it on that live essay workshop. And yes, the replay will be available. More information will be coming out on how you'll get access to the replay, how essay revisions work, and all that good stuff. So essay revisions are coming, or the essay workshop is coming June 21st, sometime at night. I'm not sure if we're going to do 9 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm in Chicago on Central Time, so that's coming soon as well. So June is a big month. Then we'll be at a conference the first weekend in June. So we got 3 weekends in June, back to back to back, with some big stuff coming up. So just stay tuned. And we got you. So we got some questions rolling in. We'll go with those, and I'll keep an eye on you guys on YouTube here. I won't forget about y'all. And let me know. I got the game going in the background. YouTube can see it. TikTok can't see it. But it's Memphis and who's that playing? Utah. So if y'all are into basketball, drop them below. Who y'all want? I haven't watched basketball since last year's playoffs, so I've been out of the loop. I'm just now getting back into it. So let's start with this Q&A. I'll get to TikTok first, and I'll get to YouTube. What PT schools in Texas do you recommend? I'm currently an undergrad and deciding and looking at my options. So with PT schools in Texas, you're fortunate to be in Texas, where a lot of the PT schools there, especially a lot of the public ones, are very low cost. So that's a great thing. You want to go, or I recommend, you can do whatever you want, but I recommend going to a lower cost physical therapy school, because any school in the country has to teach you the same thing. And it's not like law school or med school or other schools where they really care, where jobs really care where you go to school. So you're fortunate to be in Texas, and if you want to stay in Texas, to pick really any school that costs not a lot. So what I would do is go to our YouTube channel. YouTube, you are already there, and type in low cost physical therapy schools, pre-PT grind. And in the description, in the video, I got you covered. I got you covered. So that's where I would start for anybody looking for certain schools in any state. That's where I would start. But Texas, you're in a good place for low cost PT schools. Let's see here. Getting ready to start applying this summer. Best pieces of advice or important steps to take. So this advice can really be anything because that's what our whole platform is about. So I'm not sure where you are in your application journey, how much you know, how much you do not know. That would help me a lot as well with giving you the best answer. But with applying this year, you really have to keep in mind that you need to have as much of the requirements done as possible, or you're working towards them and you're very close to getting them done. Because if not, then you're in a very different predicament where you're going up against other applicants who have all their requirements done and all their statistics, like their GPA, GRE scores and stuff like that, is calculated and measured and looked at as complete, and yours potentially is not, if that's you in that situation. So I say the main thing is the basic fundamentals. How much do you have done? How much can you get done before you hit that submit button? Because the more you can have done, the better off you'll be. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is be okay. This is more like a philosophical one, but be okay with competition is probably another thing you can keep in mind. Be okay with competition. Competition is okay, because if you had your own physical therapy school and you were deciding from all these applicants, you would put barriers in place to see who the best applicants are for your school. So if you're thinking this, and I don't know if you are, like, oh, why do these classes matter? Why don't they just accept my GPA? Don't they know how it works so hard? Don't they just trust me? Well, that's just not how life works in general, and that's just not how this application process goes. So be okay with competition and just know that the better you get, YouTube, TikTok, the better you get, the less anxious you'll be about competition. Now, it won't all the way go away. It probably never will. But the better you are, or the more you're working on yourself, the less concerned you'll be about competition, because you'll be like, well, I'm working on myself too. I'm this much better than I was 3 months ago. I'm that much better. So I can compete with them. It's like the basketball game going on here. Everybody at the NBA level isn't necessarily afraid of competition because they're at the top of their game, right? So that's where you have to be. So that's what I would say. All right, let's go to YouTube here. Do you think a C in Physics 1 is okay if the rest of my prereqs are better than that? It could be. So first thing you need to keep in mind is that the schools you're applying to, you need to make sure that they don't have any requirements where they're like a C plus is the cutoff. Because if they do have a requirement where C plus is a cutoff, then they won't accept your C. Now, you should be fine, but just triple check. Then after that, if you see that, okay, a C is okay, and they do, and they will take it, then you should be fine. You said the rest of your prereqs are better than that. You might have to get more specific as much as you're comfortable with on here, but if the rest of your grades are A's, then yeah, your C is fine. So it's more of a GPA calculation thing, more so than a letter grade. Unless you have like D's or F's. So if you have C, C plus and above, it's more so of a GPA thing, because if you have C's, the rest B's, and one A, then you might want to take that C to bump up your GPA. But if you have a C and all A's, then you might have a 3.7 still, or a 3.6, or something very high with that one C still there. So for anybody listening, if you're in that situation with a couple C's or one or whatever, and you're like, oh, will this C count? It's more of a GPA mathematical calculation thing rather than a grade point average thing. So if you have a C and your GPA is whatever that school wants or averagely accepts, whether a school accepts 3.3 prereq GPA, 3.4, 3.5, what's their average? If it's close to there and you still have a C, you're good. You're good. But if you have a C and it's lower than that or lower than you would like, then that's where it comes into play, where you're like, well, will this be beneficial to retake or not? So good question. Being in Chicago yourself, what's the starting salaries for PT in Illinois? So I'm guessing you're asking about outpatient, right? Zudini, if you're talking about outpatient. I think Illinois outpatient standard across the state, the average is 72 or 73. I think that's the average, but starting, depending on the job you take, it might be closer to 69. Some people might want to lowball you at 68. You don't have to take that lowball salary, and it also depends on the setting. You have to keep that in mind. So Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Miami, it doesn't really depend on where you are too much, but it has to do more so with the setting as well. Because if you're just talking about outpatient setting, then yeah, Illinois, I can go to the Job Market Pulse, UpDoc Media's Job Market Pulse. And you can also go to my YouTube video. YouTube, if you're watching, you can type in PT salaries, or how much do physical therapists get paid on YouTube, and you'll see that breakdown. And I give you a link to UpDoc Media's Job Market Pulse, and you'll see how widely it varies from setting to setting. So I'm guessing you're talking about outpatient setting. I believe last time I looked it was 72. So from new grad to veterans, the average was 72. So you can take a little bit off for new grads if you're not going to negotiate. You can still negotiate as a new grad, but that's what I think the new grad salary was last time I checked. Opinion when it comes to being a PTA before becoming a PT. So they're asking, what's my opinion on becoming a PTA, physical therapist assistant, before becoming a physical therapist. So if you want to be a PTA because you really want to, or if your life situation makes it easier for you to become a PTA first, like if you have a family, if you have young children, your wife is, expecting, or whatever the situation is, and it's more advantageous financially or whatever for you to be a PTA, go for it. Like, do what you got to do. It's quicker, it's less debt. Do what you have to do. You're still in the field. You're doing a majority of the same things except evals and some other small things. But if you're like, oh, I want to be a PTA solely because I believe it'll help me get into physical therapy school, just apply to physical therapy school. Just apply to physical therapy school. If you're in that boat where, oh, I'm going to be a PTA first, and that's just going to be a shoo-in. They're going to see I'm a PTA, and that'll be it. Boom, I'm in. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at that, it's just not how it works. Can it help you? It could, but it's not a shoo-in like people think it is. So that's my opinion on the matter. So I hope that helps. Do PT schools look more at science GPA or average GPA? That depends on the school. Good question, but it really varies from school to school. One school can say, hey, we only want science GPAs. We don't care about nothing else. Another school can say, hey, we calculate our own GPAs based on the prerequisites and your highest retake. So the good thing, some people might feel it's a good thing. Some people may feel it's a bad thing. The good thing, in my opinion, about these variations in PT schools is that you're never really, well, I can't say you're never really out the race, but there's always usually options for you to still apply to PT school depending on your situation. So if you're like, oh my gosh, man, I'm never going to get into PT school because this and that. Well, there's probably a school out there where your GPA, once you calculate it based on their standards, you're still a great applicant on paper, right? You still meet the requirements and your GPA is up or down. And now they'll look at you more as a holistic applicant after you meet those baselines. So yeah, it really depends on the school. And when you say average GPA, I'm guessing you mean prereq GPA, because there's a lot of GPAs as well. So yeah, good question. I'll get to YouTube's question, then I'll come back to TikTok. How do I feel about the Lakers this year? Yeah, you see the game in the back. TikTok, if you're just joining, I got the Memphis-Utah game in the background. But the Lakers, they impressed me against the Warriors. So I'm curious to see how they'll hold up against Phoenix. I think they lost, right, Jason? I think they lost last time, or last night or something. They lost against Phoenix. So I don't know. Like I was saying like I was telling TikTok and YouTube before you hopped in, maybe. Yeah, they lost. Oh, it was today. I haven't watched basketball since like last year in the playoffs, so I'm just getting back into it. So yeah, What about multiple retakes for a class, received a D in chemistry, and then a C? What about multiple retakes? I'm guessing you're asking if you still have a chance. I mean, yeah, you still have a chance. A C, you could still get by with the C. Now, again, it's just going to depend on your calculations for your GPA and what the school takes. If they take the highest grade and you got a C in chemistry, then hey, you can stop there and move on to the next grades and get the highest grades possible in the other classes. Or you can retake it again. There's a lot of things that go into a situation like that, where coaching really does come in handy. So if any of you who are looking for coaching, make sure you go to acceptedsystem.com and look into our coaching program and sign up for the masterclass. Last one of the year at leveluptheprept.com. It's June 13th. It's a Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Save your seat. Sign up, save your seat, leveluptheprept.com. YouTube, it's in the comments up there. TikTok, just go to leveluptheprept.com, save your seat. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into it. How does a no pass affect my application? This is a little tricky one. It does not affect your GPA in a negative way, but it does not affect your GPA in a good way either. So a no pass, no fail type of situation, the PT schools don't have a numerical value to put on that class. So if you have a no pass, no fail type of thing, or there's another list on one of the PTCast website pages where some different classes like AP classes and some other ones, like, they don't count as a letter grade. So with that, they don't have a numerical value to put with the grade. So hopefully this isn't going over a lot of your heads, but with an A, for example, an A is worth 4 points. The converted point value of an A is worth 4 points. A B is like 3 or 3.5. A B plus is like 3.7. And there's basically the main point is that there are numerical values to go with the letter grade. So with a no pass, no fail, how is that going to correlate with a numerical grade for them to calculate your GPA, your grade point average? Because the GPA is a combination of the credits and the converted points value to the letter grade. So that's where it gets tricky, and that's where a lot of schools are like, we don't really want the no pass, no fail. But the best thing you can do right now is reach out to the schools you want to apply to and see what their stance or positioning or what they're doing with the no pass, no fail from last year affects them. It's tricky, but that's what you'd have to do now. That's the best advice I can give you with that one. All right, TikTok. Some schools want sequential chemistry classes. I don't. Do you think that would be an issue? So with sequential chemistry classes, I'm guessing you mean Chem 1 and Chem 2, or Bio 1 and Bio 2, and so on and so forth. If you go to the PTCast profiles of the schools that you're interested in, you can go to that chemistry part. You can go to the classes and go to the chemistry part. Then go to the classes, like they don't call them replacement classes. Oh, I forgot the name. But you go to the classes section, you go to chemistry and see what classes can be put in place of chemistry 1 or 2. So that's what I'd say you should look into. Unless you already did that and you found that, no, they want Chem 1 and Chem 2, then you're in a different situation. But it won't be, I don't think it would be too much of an issue because a lot of the schools have replacement classes for stuff like that. So chemistry 1 and 2, you could replace it with organic chemistry 1 and 2, and so on and so forth. Same with biology, anatomy, physics, I'm not sure. Do I have to take my own hour sheet to fill in, or is there a pre-made one? We have a pre-made one. If you go to the link in our bio and go all the way to the bottom, we have a pre-made observation hour sheet. So you scroll to the bottom, link is in the bio on TikTok, YouTube. You can go to maybe the link in the description, or Instagram or TikTok. Go to the link in bio, scroll to the bottom, and we have a sheet for you that you can use. We also have virtual observation hours if you didn't know about that. So yes, virtual observation hours. Just go to observationhours.com. This looks like it's one of the next questions there. What if you can't get hours? Go to observationhours.com. You can get some hours from us virtually. They're verified. We have our license number on them. All that. all that is there, and you can see how it works. I explain how it all works at the website, on the website. About to finish a PTA degree. Thoughts on if you think it's worth it to add to go on and apply to DPT. So this is really a personal situation because this answer has a lot to do with finances, and finances are very personal. Personal finance is personal. So depending on depending on your situation financially, you might do the numbers and say, no, it's not worth it. But if you have a plan for a DPT and you see the job market and you want to make extra, or it's not about the money for you and your spouse makes enough, or you're with your parents, whatever the situation is, then it might be worth it for you. But if you're asking if it's worth it strictly from a financial standpoint, a lot of people are going to say no. A lot of people are going to say no because depending on the setting, like I was talking about before, if you go to Job Market Pulse, Updoc Media's Job Market Pulse, or go to how much physical therapists make on our YouTube channel, I break that down. You'll see that a PTA in a home health setting out in California on a travel contract can make more than a new grad PT in an outpatient setting in like Florida or New York. So, if you're asking worth it, strictly financial, maybe not, maybe. It really depends on how the numbers shake out. What time of year does PT school start? Hey, you guys can ask questions in the question box. What time of the year does PT school start? Depends on the school. It starts anywhere between... Yeah, I'm done. Starts anywhere between... Some schools start in January. Most schools start in the summer between June and August. Some start in September. A majority of them start in the summer / early fall, but there are some outliers as well. All right, one more from TikTok, then I'll get to some YouTube questions here. What if we can't get hours? Oh yeah, observationhours.com. I failed 2 classes after retaking. What are my chances of getting accepted in the PT school? So you still have some chances. We just have to maneuver around it a little bit. So I have to know a lot more context to that question, but yes, there still is a chance. To keep it easy, to keep it simple, to keep it a general answer, yes, there still is a chance. There's just a lot of work you have to do. There's a lot of strategic planning you have to do. If you really want to do this, I highly suggest for someone in your situation, get some coaching from us, or if you find somebody else, fine. But this situation sounds like it definitely needs some coaching for that, because there's just a lot of factors that go into it. But yes, there's still a chance. All right, YouTube. If your undergraduate GPA is low and you're in the last year of undergrad, do you recommend just retaking all of them? Or basically, if you have a low undergrad GPA, should you take them all in undergrad or all in community college? Or basically, you're asking about retakes. So I wouldn't want you to, hopefully I'm interpreting this correctly, I wouldn't want you to cram whatever time you have left now in undergrad, unless you already graduated. Basically, I wouldn't want you to cram all your stuff into whatever time you have left in undergrad. If it's your last year, if it's coming up in your last year, you might still have other classes you need to take for your degree, and you don't want to stress yourself out with taking prereqs over again, and those prereq grades drop, or it's not worth it for you to retake because you're failing anyways because you have so much stuff going on. I'd much rather you finish whatever you have to do for undergrad, your degree, then retake them or take a year off or do a gap year and have higher grades, right? Should you retake them in community college? Okay, cool. So I'd rather you take them in community college and get better grades and take more time to get those better grades, as opposed to cramming everything in and getting Fs and you saying, oh my gosh, I can't handle it, I'll never be a PT, all that stuff, solely because, not because you weren't smart enough, just because you had too much stuff going on and your grades dropped because of that. Doesn't mean it has any effect on you being a PT. It just means you were taking too much stuff, which had a bad effect on your grades. So that's what I would say. When applying, when it comes to psych or behavior classes, do you get to pick which specific class you want to do? Want to count if you take it multiple times, types of those classes. So it doesn't depend. So basically, TikTok, the question is asking from YouTube is if you're taking like a psychology or behavior class, do you get to pick which class you want to take? And if you already taken multiple classes, how does the grades, like, how does that work? Is it the first grade that you've taken, or how does that work? So basically, with those classes, I still recommend that you take psychology, normal general psychology, and normal behavioral or sociology, or whatever the normal human development, the general psychology, human development, sociology class, instead of trying to piece all these smaller ones together. I still recommend that. And no, it does not have to go off the first class you take. You can retake psych classes as well. And you can also go to the PTCast profile and look under the profile and see what substitutes for general psychology, sociology, human development, and stuff like that. Does being a research assistant stand out? It absolutely can if you make it. If you make it stand out, and that goes with anything, research assistant, extracurriculars, personal trainer, massage therapist, can all this help you stand out? PT Tech, PTA, PT Aid, yes, it all can if you extract substance from it. If you just have it on your application, like, I'm a research assistant, I stand out, right? Then they see research assistants all the time. What makes your research assistant experience different from anybody else's? Are you just there on your phone all day as a research assistant? Or what were the results from your research, right? How much time did you spend on it? Were you in any leadership positions? Like, what can you talk about it there? So yeah. Have to work in the morning. When will you go live again? I usually go live on Sunday nights. In a couple weeks, I might do Sunday and Wednesdays because with our Accepted System coaching program, we have special live streams, private live streams for them on Wednesday night. So when their cohort is done, I'll come on Wednesday and Sundays. Then when they start back up again with the new cohorts for the last one of the year, then it'll just be Sundays again. All right, TikTok, let's see what we got. What time of year does PT school start? I got that one. I'm in PT school currently, interested in a VA. Veterans Affairs, any advice? I'd say start as early as possible, trying to get a job with them. Or do a clinical internship with them. That's what I'd say. What time of year does PT school start? When should you start applying? So this answer varies as well, but you start applying when your requirements are almost done, or you apply the year before your senior year. So if you're an undergrad, you apply the year before your senior year. If your requirements are done or about to be done. If they're not done and it's the summer before your senior year, it's not time to apply just because I said the summer before your senior year. You're going to get rocked. Rejected. So yeah, good question though. How does PTA school pertain to any math? So the math you have to take in prerequisites or for whatever prereqs, if you're talking about that, it's because it correlates to the statistics class you'll do for research and physical therapy school. And if you have to take algebra or calculus as well, those are just weed out classes. So it's not like you're doing math calculations in PTA or physical therapy school. It's either a weed out class or you're taking statistics for them to see how you'll do in statistics in physical therapy school. Anything else you should be doing before PT school other than relaxing? You can get Swift Notes. You can start by going through Swift Notes. If you guys don't have this, link is in the bio. 10% off if you use our code, and the code is already in the link. So YouTube, if you want to check out Swift Notes, I use this in the clinic. I use this on the virtual observation hours. Everybody loves it. Everybody who's got it, the CEO messages me all the time like, yeah, how many people bought today and this and that. So everybody seems to love it. So if you really want to do something to get your mind ready for PT school, or if you want to have better observation hours, you can bring this to the clinic. It's about $30 something. Then you add on the discount. That comes out to, you guys get a little discount from us. So link is in the bio on TikTok. Then YouTube, you can either go to Instagram or TikTok. Link is in the bio for Swift Note. So that's what I'd say do if you don't want to relax before PT school. Does retaking classes not show on the application? Yes, it shows. Everything shows. Everything definitely shows. The difference is everything does not get calculated in the GPA depending on how the schools calculate GPAs. So, hey, we almost got 10 people on YouTube. YouTube is popping today. I usually have like 3-4 people on YouTube. We got 24 on TikTok. Y'all, that's what's up. That's what's up. Y'all are showing up. Y'all are showing out today. I like it. Y'all are probably just watching the game on YouTube. That's probably why. Let's see. Got a longer question here. I have 1 C in physics. Currently have a 3.7. Starting junior year. Should I retake it? So the question I have for you is that 3.7 cumulative or is that a prereq GPA? You need to find out the difference. If it's a prereq GPA, your 3.7 is a prereq GPA with the C in physics, you're pretty much good. If it still falls to like a 3.4 or anything around there with that C in physics, then you still might be okay to not retake it. But it really depends on what's your prereq GPA versus cumulative GPA. Should I retake prereqs with Bs? It still depends. This is not, with prereqs and retaking, it's not solely, oh, if I have a B, I have a C, I have a D, I have an F, I have a whatever, I have a whatever. It's not solely the letter. It is the GPA calculations, because you can have straight Bs and have like a 3.2. Yeah, you don't have a C or an F or a D, but is that 3.2 going to get you into the PT school you want? You want TikTok, YouTube. Maybe it will. For some schools, that 3.2 GPA, prereq GPA is going to get you into the school you want. For some, if the school you wants a 3.8 prereq GPA based on their calculations, then straight Bs aren't going to cut it. You're going to have to retake the Bs. So the good news is that it's not just the letter, it's the calculations, the GPA calculations from the letter is what really matters. We got some more from YouTube here. Love your work. That's what's up. Thanks, Samuel. Dr. Lopez, future doctor or current doctor. With COVID, can't find any patient shadowing. Is that bad? Not necessarily. Some schools are being assholes about it. Some schools are being lenient. If you need hours, we can get you started at observationhours.com. Link is in the bio, or just go to observationhours.com and we got you. Most PT schools ask for a letter of recommendation from a PT. Should I still apply even if I can't get one? No, you have to have their requirements. If they require a letter of recommendation from a PT, you have to get a letter of recommendation from a PT. If you don't have their requirements, they're going to say, you don't have our requirements. Why should we accept you when other people got our requirements? So yeah, you do need that. All right, let me get some YouTube here. I think I got. Oh, cool. As a PT, what are the minimum hours a student should shadow for you to consider writing them a letter of recommendation? For me personally, let's see. Let me read this again. As a PT, what are the minimum hours a student should shadow for you to consider writing them? For me personally, I don't really care. It could be 5 hours if we have a good conversation in the 5 hours and I seem to know you, or we talk offline or outside the clinic. Doesn't matter. But for most other PTs, it's hard to put a number on it. The only way I can put a number on it is by going throughout a work day. So let's just say 8-hour days. If you're there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right through a week, that's a 40-hour week. So maybe between 2 to 4 weeks. This is just me guessing here. Don't take this to any PT and say, oh, pre-PT grind, Casey, he's a PT. He said from 2 to 4 weeks, you should be able to write me a letter of recommendation because he said 2 to 4 weeks, I should be good. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. I'm just saying, how much time would somebody be comfortable with getting to know you? If you're there every day for 8 hours, 2 to 4 weeks, maybe that seems like enough time where you can get to know them, they can get to know you. But it's really depends. There's no time limit on it. How much does the GRE matter in getting accepted? Is it worth retaking? If you're below the recommendations, if you're below the requirements and there's a hard cutoff, if you have a 298 and they're like, you need a 300, that's it, we're not accepting you. If you don't have it, then you need to retake it. If the school doesn't care about the GRE or it's optional, then you need to ask yourself, will you regret not retaking it if you don't get in? If you're like, oh my gosh, if I had only retaken it, would I be in? Then you need to retake it. If you're like, it doesn't really matter to me, I'm good, then you don't need to retake it. So yeah. OT program in the fall, congratulations. After you take AMP1. Should I do it at my home college? Do it at community college. Whichever's cheaper, community college or home college, retake at the cheaper school. Are schools strict on expiring prereqs? Some are. Should I retake them if it's been 8 years? Yeah, you either have to retake them or write a petition/waiver letter. So just ask them, send an email to the admissions and say, do you do admissions waivers or not admissions waivers, waivers for expired classes, or is there a petition for expired classes? So yeah. Freaking out about the personal statement. I got you. June 21st, be there. Essay lab, essay workshop, June 21st. June 21st, I got you. Your essay will be done or on the way to being done. I write it with you. I got you. June 21st. Just look out for stuff. We'll be promoting it everywhere. Let's see. CSCS certification. Yeah, it could be. 270 hours is okay. CSCS certification, yeah, it can help you if you have something to talk about. Just like somebody was asking about research assistant, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Really popping off with the questions today. Yes, everybody's asking all the questions today. You too. There's questions coming everywhere. I don't know what's up with y'all, but I like it. Keep them coming. We got a lot of engagement tonight, so that's what's up. I don't know what I was saying or what's going on where the questions are popping, but hey, CSCS, yes, it's fine if you have something to talk about. Do you have any leadership? How long have you been with that certification? What are your results? All that stuff. If you have something to talk about, yeah. But if you're just like, I have a CSCS, accept me, then it doesn't mean anything. Starting a new job, how to do well as a PT aide or a PT tech. Make their lives easier. That's the main thing I could say. We hired a new front desk PTA, PT tech type of thing not too long ago. She makes our lives so much easier. If you can just make their life easier, whatever they need, you'll be everybody's best friend. Community college, 2 years. Does that make a difference? No. You can go to community college 2 years. I talk about this on a TikTok I did like last year. But yeah, community college, save money, 2 years, transfer, graduate from a 4-year university, get your bachelor's. You're good. You're good. You're good. I think I got this question, the 3.7 GPA. It's more of a calculations thing. You should be fine, though. Sounds like you should be fine. Going to CC, less qualified? No, you're not less qualified going to community college. GRE is optional. Does that mean they won't take it or consider it at all? No, that just means it's optional. If you take the GRE and you get like a super high score, they'll be like, dang, that factors in. You got a super high score. Nice. We'll look at you differently, or that's impressive to us because it's optional. And if you take it and it's a very high score, cool, we'll factor that in. But if you don't take it, they're like, we don't really care. So it's just optional. It doesn't mean that they will not take it into consideration. 270 hours excessive? No, that's good. Where should we look June 21st? Will it be on TikTok? Yeah, it'll be everywhere. We'll send emails out. You'll see Facebook ads, Instagram ads. You'll see TikToks, regular TikToks with me talking in the screen, promotional ones. You'll see funny ones. June 21st, you'll see it everywhere. You'll see it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, emails, text messaging, all the stuff we have, you'll see it. You'll see it everywhere. So yeah, look out for it. Essay lab, essay workshop. If you want to like get a little sneak peek into it, you can go to preptessay.com and you can see like how the sales page looked and all that stuff. What major did I have? I was in exercise science, or I was health science, emphasis in exercise science. All right, let's get to UB. The UB. I'm shadowing at a small place with 4 PT aides. I want to try and help out when I can, but the aides do it all. Any advice on how I can possibly stand out if I want them to if I want to ask them for a letter of recommendation? So ask or seek. One, you could just ask, is there anything else I can do? If they say yeah, do that. If they say no, then you need to look around and observe and see what needs to be done. Is the phone ringing off the hook? Something needs to be cleaned? Do they need to hire a new PT tech? Is people leaving? Are people leaving and they need to hire somebody else? Is it the documentation issue? Is it patient fall off? Just observe for like 2 weeks while you're doing your job and say, or ask yourself, is there anything slipping? Then you go to the clinic director and say, or on their meetings, I'm sure you guys have weekly or monthly meetings. Go to the weekly or monthly meetings and say, hey, I saw this. How can I help? Boom, you've stood out. You stood out. Even if you're observing or a PT tech, you stood out just by asking that question. Good question, though. Good question. What state am I practicing in? Illinois. What does what associate's degree? You have to have your bachelor's degree. So they're asking, what associate's degree should you get, or does an associate's degree matter? You have to get your bachelor's degree. Associates would not cut it to apply to PT school. Associates for PTA school, yes. PT school, no. Just want to say appreciate your help and guidance. I love this account. Hey. That's what's up. I'm glad you're loving it. That's what we're here for. Tell your friends, share it out, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, TikTok, follow, all that stuff. Thanks for the kind words. I'm glad you're loving it. All right. That was quick. We got through a lot of the questions. I didn't think I would get through all of them. So I think we're good. 42 minutes in. I'm sure a lot will pop up on TikTok in a second. How does PT school compare to being a practicing physical therapist? In my opinion, PT school was a lot harder than being a physical therapist. I feel like I'm chilling at work. Like, I make jokes, I do my notes, I manage my patients. Yeah, there's some paperwork. There's an occasional bad day, here and there, like with anything else, but it's a lot easier than going to school. Especially in my setting and at my clinic. Now, if I was doing something else in a different setting, maybe will it be different? Maybe. But being a PT is way easier than being a PT student. Being a PT student was a lot harder than being a physical therapist. So it's pretty chill. The hardest thing is just getting up in the morning, waking up early, going to bed on time, waking up in the morning. Once I get to the clinic, I'm good, but it's just waking up in the morning. That's the hardest part. Is getting into a PT program out of state harder? Not necessarily. No, it's not necessarily harder. Just depends on the requirements. School out of state might accept a 3.0 GPA, only need 10 observation hours, have only 100 people applying. It could be easier out of state than in state. It all depends. Not necessarily harder or easier. How's practicing in a clinic different than practicing in a hospital? Good question. So in a clinic, well, I'll start with the hospital. So in my opinion, in a hospital, skilled nursing facility, all that stuff, your main job as a physical therapist, this is just one person's opinion from what I've seen, from what I've experienced as a student and a PT. In a hospital, skilled nursing facility, your main job is to help the rest of the medical team determine the proper discharge for the patient. Your main job in a hospital or skilled nursing facility as a P, in my opinion, is to help the rest of the medical team determine the best place for discharge for the patient. So they're relying on your expertise as a movement expert, PT, safety, all that stuff to say, is this patient safe to go home, to a subacute rehab, to a nursing home, to what's the safest place so the hospital, us, don't get sued to send this patient? That's what they're relying on you for as a PT. Now, if you can get the patient good enough and mobile enough and functional enough to go straight home, great. If you can get them only good enough to get to subacute rehab, whatever, then hey, there you go. They just need to know where's the safest, best way for them to not legally get in trouble. Like, where should they send them? So yeah. Then in the clinic, now it's more so, in my opinion, depends on your patient population as well, but there you focus more on you know, your Instagram exercises you have, then you have your research studies, then you have your modalities, then you have evidence-based practice. Some people use it, some people don't. It's more fast-paced in the clinic. There's a lot more patients. It's a lot more open. It's your traditional thing that you think of when you think of PT. That's what the clinic is. PT8 in New York is a good start for someone. Yeah, PT8 is fine. 4th term PT student here. That's what's up. Hope you're loving it. Almost done, I think. I'm a PT8 in New York. Yeah, PT8, PT Tech is fine. This is a good place to start. I was never one, so it doesn't mean you have to be one, but yeah, good place. D Money Funny. D Money Funny. Got on YouTube D Money Funny. I have an information session, written interview for a PTA school tomorrow. Got denied last year. Did a major improvement and more hours. That's what I'm talking about. D Money Funny is getting to the money. D Money Funny. Good luck on your info session, written interview, and all that stuff for PTA school tomorrow. Good luck. You got this. You got this. Oh, you have 8 terms. Okay, so halfway through. Halfway through. Good luck. Hang in there. Have as much fun as you can. Enjoy yourself. I think we're good. I'll wait a few seconds, see if anything else comes through. Then I'll finish watching the game back here. TikTok, y'all haven't been watching it, but YouTube has. Finished watching the little playoffs here. PT aid in Cincinnati and doing research, but my GPA is a 3.0. Any better ways to stand out? So go to YouTube. Who is this? Teespring. Go to YouTube and go to the playlist. How to stand out in 3 minutes or less. Then you can also go to our playlist that I put for frequently. I think I named it frequently asked questions. Start with the 3 ways to stand out in 3 minutes or less. And that will give you more ways to stand out outside of your GPA and GRE and other statistics. Thank you, Elisa or Eliza. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching YouTube. We got 5 likes on YouTube. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. YouTube is hard to grow on. I got to do more research on YouTube. TikTok is cool. I haven't figured it out totally, but it's a lot easier to grow on TikTok than Instagram or YouTube. YouTube is hard to grow on. Or maybe I'm just not doing it right. I need to do some more research on YouTube. I need to be like Mr. Beast or something out here. Be a full-time content creator. But YouTube is not easy to grow on. What are things to avoid or include when writing essays for the application? So things to avoid with the application are not staying in the character limit, the 4,500 character limit, not words, characters, spaces, periods, apostrophes, letters, all that stuff, and not answering the prompt. Those are the 2 biggest problems that I've seen over the years with essays. Not staying in the character limit and not answering the question. How often do you use special tests in the clinic? Ooh, I haven't used those since like my first year in the clinic. I honestly don't use a lot of special tests. There's a lot of research out there and some other like big evidence-based Instagram accounts that say special tests aren't. I just haven't used them because of like time management and just how I do things in the clinic now. I'm just I can see it, I can look, I can say raise your arm here and there. I don't really use special tests anymore, and patients seem to be doing just as well as if I've used them. I don't use them at all unless I go down a rabbit hole and what I find leads me to use a special test, then I'll use it. So if I see like, okay, they have a shoulder problem, right? And I do the painful arc test, and the painful arc test is just like that, and it pops up how I want to see it, and it's positive, then why do I have to do anything else? I can save my time doing manual therapy, rehab, exercise, education. I can use my time otherwise if they have a positive painful arc. I don't need to do Hawkins Kennedy or the speeds or this. Like I've just become more efficient where I don't need all the special tests. But if I go down the line and I'm like, okay, painful arc isn't it, then I feel around the bicep, then it's the bicep tendon, but something's weird there and it's not panning out, then I go to my special tests. Like, it's way down the line though. Home health in New York, would you recommend? Yeah, it's fine. Pays a lot. Home health always pays the most. So yeah, if that's what you're going for, yeah, it's fine. When you talk about GPA, you talking about the overall GPA or prereqs? I'm talking about both. It depends on what the school wants. Some schools just take the cumulative overall GPA calculated by PTCAS. Some do their own thing with the prereq GPA. It really depends on the school. So when I'm talking about GPA, I'm usually trying to stick to prereq GPA, but a school can say, F the prereq GPA. We want the GPA PTCAS gives us. So I usually talk about prereq GPA. That doesn't mean all schools go for that either. Let's see, Nando. Fabian. I'm currently a manager at a pizza restaurant, and I wonder how those types of skills transfer to being a PT, working in a clinic. Well, you're a manager, so if you want to be a clinic director or a PT clinic manager, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you're a Starbucks at a corporate PT clinic or Starbucks, they're both corporate places. They both have the same structure. They both have KPIs, key performance indexes. They both have results. They both have productivity. So it's the same thing, in my opinion. Watching the clinic director, I'm not one, but I'm in those meetings. We go over productivity. I'm the only other PT there. Numbers get hammered in my face all day. I'm sure numbers get hammered in your face too. How many clients are coming through the door? What's your marketing? Like, it's all business is business. So if you have business background as a manager, if you want to be in the business or operations setting as a PT in a corporate setting, you know exactly how this works, whether you know it or not. So you know a lot more than you think. You know not a lot more than you think. So being a manager translates to being a manager somewhere else. The only difference is you're managing physical therapy stuff, and right now you're managing pizza stuff. The only difference is the pizza and the physical therapy. Everything else is the same. Not to put physical therapy down or anything, or it's just the same. It's just, I'm being real. I'm starting my DBT program tomorrow. Any last minute tips? You can get, if you want to use Swift Notes for PT school, I highly recommend it. This will help you in the clinic a lot. Maybe not so much with like your first day of PT school that starts tomorrow, but when you're getting ready for clinicals, this will help you a lot. A lot of people love it. Link is in the bio, 10% off. So check it out. Do you need trigonometry and pre-calc? If the PT school needs it, yes. Most schools don't. I needed pre-calc. That was it though. Does working as a chiro aide help? Yeah, that'd be fine. Even though it doesn't count for hours, yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. If that's how you want to use your time, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Thank you so much. I have doubts about my DBT process. I don't know how to start. Manny, if you're still on, you have doubts, go to Start to PT School Guide, or you're in the right place. Just follow us and consume all our content. And I highly recommend going to acceptancenavigator.com. If you're still on Manny, or if you feel like Manny and you have doubts or anything like that, go to acceptancenavigator.com. We got you. That's recalibration time on that website, acceptancenavigator.com. Thank you. No problem. Do PT schools care what under? Let's see if there's the rest of that question. Do PT schools care what under? I don't see the rest of that question, so I'll wait for that one. Any tips on getting shadowing opportunities at an inpatient setting? So the best thing to do is try to get a job at an inpatient setting. Other than that, you can't really be too picky because they have a lot of people to go through on their corporate ladder to approve whether they want volunteers or not. So if you're in a state like Texas or Florida, maybe Illinois a little bit now. The places that are, I guess everybody is easing up on masks now, but I guess the places that have been more lenient are going to be easier to get into. So either get a job there as a PT tech or a transfer person, or some other position, then try and get your way in there, or you just ask what their policy is and wait. Or if you're on vacation in another state this summer that's more relaxed, you can get a couple hours there too. What time do I get on live on Sundays? I try to get on live at 9 p.m. Central Time. So 10 Eastern, 7 West Coast Time. 10 Eastern, 7 West Coast Time on Sundays. I try to get on. Sometimes I'm traveling, so I don't get on every Sunday, but I usually put a post on Instagram, like the Instagram stories, like I'm going live tonight or something like that. I gave out texts a couple times, so if you guys want me to text you, you can go to textpreptgrind.com and just text VOH to that number. You'll see the number on the website. I think the number is 813-212-6770. I'll put it in YouTube. 1-813-212-6770. Or you can go to textpreptgrind.com. If you guys want that, I can start texting you guys. Like, hey, I'm going live in a couple hours. I did that a couple times, but not too many signed up for TikTok on our text messaging stuff. But I can. YouTube, I think we're good. Link in the bio for Swift Notes isn't working. Oh, I'm on my phone on TikTok. What you can do if you go to YouTube, or actually I'll send it to you. Patel R1130. Send me a DM. I'll send you the proper link. Then I'll try and fix it, or I'll try and fix it right now. But send me a DM on TikTok, Patel, if you're still on. Just make sure your settings are open. Sometimes I try to respond to messages on TikTok and they're like, no, the privacy settings on, you can't respond. So just make sure your settings are open. I will send you the proper link for Swift Notes. I'm not sure. I thought I fixed that. Ugh, I guess I did not fix that. So I'll fix it, but send me a DM or I'll find you. Send me a DM so I don't forget. Or you can try Instagram. I think that might be working, Swift Notes. Or you can go to Swift Notes. Patel, if you're still on, go to Swift Notes, their Etsy shop, and just type in Pre-PT Grind. That might work on checkout. If you type in Pre-PT Grind instead of just using the link, that should work too. But I'll make sure you're hooked up. What did you do to build your resume? I was a teacher's assistant for biology. No. Yes. Or anatomy, one of those classes. I was a golf caddy and Uber driver. I redid my essays, retook anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, and got new letters of recommendation. Started Pre-PT Grind, which was the origins of Pre-PT Grind. It was like the Pre-PT Success Program way back then in 2014. Went to the Pre-PT assemblies, which they had at our school, and that was pretty much it. Do PT schools care what undergraduate school you went to? Nope. They sure don't. Which is a good thing. Alright, I'm going to fix Shorby. Hopefully this works. But yeah, check out Swift Notes. YouTube, let me check. I think we're all good. Almost an hour. I'll cut it off at an hour. So if there's any last questions, get them in. You got a minute, 30 seconds to get it in. Dang. Why is Swift Notes not working though? It looks like the right link. I'm on it right now. Looks like the right link. Oh, I won't show you this. I don't know what's going on here. Let's see. Since I'm going to take a break, should I retake a course? Yeah. Yeah, you can retake a course at in a gap year. Yeah, the link seems to work for me. SwiftNote seems to be good. SwiftNote seems to be good. Yeah, success pre-PT grind. It might be already added. Patel, if you're still on, it might not have just been added. We'll figure it out. When should you take the GRE? This depends a lot on your schedule, but the winter, like the spring or winter before you apply. So if you apply in June, you want to take it like between January and May. But you don't have to take it during that time. You can take it before. You can definitely take it before. What's the difference between PT and PTA? So physical therapist is the PT. Physical therapist assistant is the physical therapist assistant. So PTs do evaluations and manipulations, and depending on the state, a few other things. PTAs carry out what the PT established at the evaluation. So the physical therapist does the evaluations and sets the plan like a doctor does, like a medical doctor evaluates them, runs the test or requests the test, sets out the plan of action, sets out the plan of care. Then the rest of the medical team follows that. Same thing with physical therapists in the clinic or the hospital or whatever. They do the evaluation, set the plan of care, then the physical therapist assistant helps follow or helps continue that plan of care. Plan to take a gap year before going to PT school. Would working as a tech? Yeah, working as a tech is fine. Yeah, tech is fine. Uber driver, caddy, babysitter. I just did a TikTok on flexible jobs, so you can check that out. Any jobs work. Any tips for the GRE? Error-based preparation. Error-based preparation. Error-based preparation. So what that means is taking a practice test first, seeing where your weaknesses are, and working on your weaknesses, as opposed to just skimming through the whole Kaplan, Manhattan, Magoosh, whatever, Greg Matt, and just studying everything. You want to study your weak points so that can give you the biggest jump in point value. So yeah. All right, y'all. I'll be back maybe next Sunday night. That's Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know how many of y'all gonna hop on, or how many of y'all will be out seeing fireworks, or at your lake houses, or in the city, or out in festivals with the world opening back up. But look out for Instagram. I might text you guys, see how that goes, about me coming on. But I will see you then. Take care, guys.